People that meet him now would probably put him in more of a fearless category about trying new things and being in a crowd or performing in front of a crowd.
You think back when he was a little kid, little things. I mean, he was anxious about just, I guess, the world itself.
Lots of stories about not wanting to do things just simply because I thought it was scary. And in reality, it wasn't. I was different as a kid, for sure.
My wife, Amy, did a really good job with him as a child.
The more I read about it, the more I realized that the best thing to do was probably just to make him kind of face these fears that he had.
And that's what she did. Like, literally anything and everything that made me uncomfortable, she just forced me to do it. Doing things like getting into musical theater and show choirs to force me into that kind of uncomfortable on-stage situations.
He was never anxious about playing football. He's always loved football.
I always thought it was funny how you could have fears about small little things, but no fear at all when somebody's running straight at you and trying to, tackle you to the ground.
Ball was his first word. By the time he was 2, he was throwing a football. It was just football, football, football.
I've just always loved football. It's always been something that's part of me. I mean, I think even as a kid, I was just fascinated by the visual movement of it all. And so I think part of that helped to where, as a kid, I never felt uncomfortable in football especially. It's just always been something I've loved. And when I'm on that field, it's a different mindset, I'm in the zone. I guess in my senior year, that's when most kids decide to serve a mission or not. At that point in my life, I thought a mission really wasn't for me.
And a couple of schools in particular point blanked him and said, if you can commit to us right now that you won't go on a mission, we have a scholarship for you.
And I really just looked at myself. I was like, are you willing to give up on this opportunity to become a better man and a better disciple of Christ just to go play football? As I thought about that a lot and prayed, I realized, all right, this is what you need to do. You need to make some changes. You need to go on this mission, and football can wait for now.
Once he really made the decision and committed to go on a mission, he felt a lot of peace about that decision, and everything really worked out for him.
I would just say it was the people that I met, the experiences I had, and the testimony I gained that really led me to understand that I'd made the right decision.
And so he was coming home from his mission he didn't really know what he was going to do. I think we all felt a little anxious for him. He ended up applying to BYU and got in just as, regular student. And he was just trying to decide what to do because he still really wanted to play football. And just a few months before he was scheduled to come home, he started to hear from coaches again. And all of a sudden, he had, offers that were really beyond his wildest dreams when he left on his mission to begin with. So he ended up deciding on Boise State, and when he returned home from Argentina, he went straight out to Boise.
So Cade Fennegan, in essence, the third-string quarterback for Boise State, has never attempted a pass, the true freshman.
It was really surreal because, one, they're playing the team I played for in college, and 2, he had just gotten back from his mission. He hadn't played football in 2.5 years. He'd been with the Boise team for, 2 months?
I guess going into fall camp, I was pretty low on the depth chart, right? Because I was just expecting a red shirt. I was totally happy with where I was at, just learning the system. I had plenty of time left in my college career, and so I felt good. But then towards the end of fall camp and kind of coming up on the season, I'd moved up to the third-string quarterback, which still, you look at the third string, you're like, probably won't play much, But just with COVID and injuries and everything, I ended up being the backup for most of the year and, getting into some crucial games, namely the BYU game, where I played pretty much that whole game.
Man, when we played against him, I was impressed with him because he came in, quarterback got hurt, so he came in and filled in, and that's a tough spot to go against a really solid defense, and didn't see a lot of shock in his eyes. I thought you could see that baller mentality of hey, let's just see what we can do. And even at the end, he scored some points on us. That to me showed a lot of heart.
It was tough. I mean, I felt like I let my team down. I'm sure the Boise community felt that I let them down too. It was a tough game.
I think he kind of felt the weight on his shoulders that the loss was his fault.
It was hard for him to deal with that, and I think it put him in a dark place a little bit because, football is a game, and you want your kid to have fun playing it. You want him to enjoy the journey, so to speak, and he wasn't enjoying the journey.
I'd definitely say it was the most just, I don't even know how to say it, anxious, I guess, I felt in a long time, right? Like since even I was a kid. And it was just one game, you know, but in the end, like it was a tough game. And that's not how I wanted my debut to go, I guess, as a college quarterback. But in the end, it was a good experience. It also helped me understand you can't win everything, you know? And in the end, where are your priorities? You know, like, am I gonna let this define me? Am I gonna give up? Is this it for me? And so there's a lot of questions that came up after that, but I look back at it as a learning experience and something that I'm grateful for in the end. And it helped land me here.
When we heard about him entering the portal and had an opportunity to bring him in, it was a no-brainer for the offensive coaches, and definitely for me. I've been really impressed with him.
I mean, this has been my dream school too, since I was a kid. So for them to want me to come to their school was pretty cool.
I'm so happy that he's reached his goals to play college football. And I think now, you know, he has new goals. I think it's just a wonderful opportunity for him.
I can't wait to see him compete, and now that he's eligible to go, see where he can fit in that quarterback room that's got a lot of talent, but he definitely belongs there.
I want him to be happy. I want him to be content with where he's at. I want him to lift where he stands and be happy in that moment. And I think he is. I really think the time he's been here, a year and a few months now, he's been happy. And that's all I could ask for him. He's happy where he's at. And I think BYU is a great spot for him.